Welcome to the Buy Box Bandits podcast.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Buy Box Bandits podcast presented by SellerAmp. Make sure you guys go to selleramp.com. Get a free trial if you haven't already. Profit calculator, mobile app, web app, all for under $20 a month. So we have an awesome guest. We have Michael Tona, aka Botter Tona, aka TonaFBA. We've got a man of many names here, and we're going to talk about how he did $500K in sales his first 8 months with online arbitrage, closing on 6 figures profit with everything like that. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you for inviting me, guys. How's it going?
By the way, for anyone listening that hasn't yet set up a catch-all, you got to watch this man's catch-all tutorial on YouTube on the Botter Tona channel. Yeah. I've been meaning to bring that up, but he's the father of the modern catch-all method, right there. And if you
that
don't,
probably has, how many views does that have?
Over 20,000.
Yeah,
I always wondered why it jumped up so fast, and then I realized he was pushing it every day, which is great.
Of course, yeah, it's everywhere, dude. You got to be watching that shit, man. But yeah, so you have a long reselling background prior to the Amazon side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's hear about why you got into it, how that got started, everything, and then we'll get into the Amazon stuff.
So pretty much in college, I was reselling shoes. One of my close friends that I knew, that I just met through another dorm down the hall, introduced me to reselling Ultra Boosts back in the Ultra Boost days. And I was like, oh, it's only $20-$30. And he's like, nah, come to this release. And then we ended up getting 5 or 10 pairs or something. So we made a quick 200 selling it on eBay. And that's kind of what got me hooked. And I'm like, oh, I could do this all the time. And then pretty much from there, I just got hooked and I just started selling shoes a lot. I started entering all the raffles. And then when COVID hit, someone introduced me to sneaker botting, which for those who don't know, it's just using advanced software that can just buy up shoes a lot quicker than the manual person could. And they are a little expensive, yeah, but it does, you will pay off whatever you invested into the bots, and it's totally worth it. It's just a very big learning curve. So during COVID, I didn't really have much to do because I was out of work, and I pretty much taught myself how to sneaker bot. And then the rest is pretty much history. I just started learning how to do all these sneak releases, and then I kept seeing Miles's tweets, and then that's how I got into the Amazon space. And ever since then, it's just taken off.
And it's actually funny. So Danny, our other host, and I were on a call the other day, and we were looking at bots, the prices of them. And some of them were $50, $100, $150. Some of them have just tanked.
Yeah, well, the market's not as good anymore because just reselling is kind of dead right now. The PS5s are done.
Sneaker reselling. Yeah,
it's better on Amazon, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but basically the reasoning behind that was during COVID, everything went online, but the botting industry boomed because all the stock was online, if I'm not correct with that.
Correct. Yeah, all in-store releases got canceled. On top of just people fighting during in-store release raffles, all the lines, I'm sure you've seen all that kind of nonsense. That also helped, which is good because they pushed all of the raffle stock online. They pushed all of the normal stock online because of COVID, which just gave botters the edge to just get more stock and just keep pushing out more sales, which actually helped in my scenario because I was still learning. So I guess it helped me out a little bit, which is good.
Something we always like to kind of get into is the come up, right? So take us through that first, call it 2-3 months of Amazon, right? Because I would say most of, if not a majority of our listeners are in that beginning stage, either just getting started with those first couple sales, building up, looking for that sort of fluency with all the Amazon stuff that we have to go through, right? So take us to that first couple months of really building Amazon.
Okay, so I love being super transparent because I think it helps out new sellers. The first couple months were really hard, and I think new sellers should understand that it is a lot of work for Amazon, and you are going to have to source a lot. But the first 2 months, it wasn't super profitable. I don't think I even made that much. I don't even know what the exact numbers are if I even tried to make it up right now, but I wasn't making a lot. I was just kind of getting all the ungating down, and I was watching just a lot of YouTube from all the creators, Miles, Warner, everybody, Amazon Lit, Scott Needham, all of that stuff, all the podcasts. And I was just feeding all of that into my head, like when I'm driving, podcasts, everything. So just surrounding myself with all the Amazon creators and excuse me. And pretty much the first 2 months, once the ungating process was done with all the major brands like shoes, apparel, kind of beauty, personal care, like the basics, I started just sourcing a lot. And the more I sourced, the more I learned it. Miles was teaching me, so I learned a lot from that, and just like understanding the basics of how Keepa works. There's a lot of things I still don't know how Keepa works, and I think it's super important to kind of know the background behind that. But like I said, the first couple months were not the best, but it's just the process, and you'll learn, and it's just you're gonna keep getting better. Just kind of like how I was with botting. I wasn't really good. I was losing money when I was botting the first couple months because there's a lot of expenses to it. So yeah,
Was there a certain point where a kind of light bulb flicked where you were like, oh shoot, this is for real, I can make money with this?
Well, the first little boom was the back to school. That was like my third month. That's when I started like actually seeing profits on like the P&L sheets from Inventory Labs. But then December hit and Miles kept texting me. He's like, oh, you still in school? You still in school? And then December hit and I don't even know. I made a good amount of money. I don't want to like say how much, but I made, if you look at my socials, I did like maybe a third of what you guys do in December. And I was like, wow, this is like an actual career I can pursue. And I ended up deferring my college program I'm in because I was in nursing school, and I deferred it a whole semester. So I don't go back technically until the fall, but I'm probably going to keep pushing it back because of pretty much how well Amazon has been. But yeah, December was the big boom. To answer your question, that was when I like actually saw how this can be life-changing and pretty much be a career for those who actually pursue it and put in the hard work.
And
Yeah,
so since December, how did you start to transition from Q4 to kind of regular life as an Amazon seller?
I kind of, well, you actually preach it a lot, Garrett, about having like an organized calendar and daily tasks. So I kind of started like actually sitting down and kind of writing down what I should do. How should my daily tasks be? What do I do first? At what time I wake up? I'm kind of getting my sleep schedule still together because it was all over the place. So kind of organizing a little bit more of that. As for the selling side of it, I still have some bad purchases from the initial few months, which will happen. You will see tanked listings, and I think it's very good for like new sellers to understand that it does happen. Even for people like me, Miles, and you, Garrett, it will happen. So it is okay to take losses. It is okay to break even though people like preach on Twitter, like, oh, don't like drop your prices too much. Sometimes you got to get out when it actually like happens. So you want to reinvest that money, and kind of the Q4 to like Q1 transition, I am getting rid of some old inventory that I'm paying a lot of storage fees on. So I'm just dumping some of that. And by dumping it, I mean just like matching the lowest price. I'm not undercutting. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just getting the sales, and I'm just moving my inventory to improve my sell-through rate and pretty much use that money to reinvest in stuff that now I'm more knowledgeable on. Because back in August, back when I started in June, July of 2022, I was making some stupid purchases or buying too heavy. And then now I have too much stock sitting in FBA. And for those who don't look at the fees, there is a lot of fees when it comes to storage rates and all that stuff.
yeah, that's a good point. And so the difference between what you were doing is, so you were using basically automation software to try and purchase the hottest Jordan, the hottest Adidas that was coming out, all that, mainly on just on the day that it was coming out, like all this preparation for probably like an hour, a couple hours of potentially hitting huge or getting nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a lot of investing. Some of the software I've paid an upwards of $5,000 for, so it does get very expensive. But I'm only paying that because I knew at that point I was able to like be able to attain some pairs. But yeah, it's a few hours of prep. It depends on the release. I could set up 5 to 10 bots for like a Yeezy supply release, but now that's over. So that also is kind of transitioning people to FBA too for Amazon. But yeah, like you said, it's like a few hours of work. You're setting up. You could hit 0 pairs if something goes really wrong, or if your setup's wrong, or if your internet goes out. Like sometimes it did happen to me, and I lost a lot of money on one day. So it is a risk. I don't really advise sneaker botting anymore. Maybe like 4 years ago, I would have advised it, but I
Is there
try to
any
push
feasibility in
people.
botting with Amazon?
What's
Oh,
up?
yeah.
Is there any feasibility with botting with Amazon?
I don't even know. That's a hard question, honestly, to answer. I wouldn't. I don't want to. If people do ask me a lot on Instagram, and I just try to push them away from not doing it and pushing them into the Amazon space because it's just too much of a risk.
Yeah.
It's like more money up front, and then you can only work on it like once a week or so. If there's a
Yeah.
there's a big release. Amazon, you can work on every day. You can go look on Nike.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you could find profitable stuff right now, and it might take 30 minutes. It might take an hour, 2 hours, but it's more of a career out of that. Whereas sneaker botting, it's not always going to be good. Like there hasn't even been a release in like a good release in a few weeks, honestly. And Nike keeps mass producing dunks and stuff, so the value's going down, and it's just not as profitable. And I don't think it's sustainable, to be honest.
And probably not delegatable the way you can with Amazon with VA.
No. I mean, you could have people run your bots for you, but they're always going to want a piece of the money. So
And if they like, I feel like botting's like a very high ROI skill. You know what I mean? It'd be like a really hard thing to delegate. And sure, sourcing's hard too. And,
yeah, I wouldn't trust people doing the botting for me though. I'm too particular about my setups and stuff. But yeah, like you said, there's a lot of expenses. It's just like the software itself. There's IP addresses you're buying for it. There's you need good internet. You need a good PC. My PC like that I built was like I think $3,000, and that's not even like the best. Some people have better ones, so it's too much of a risk. It's a lot of upfront costs, and in today's society, it's just not worth it anymore. And like you said, Amazon, you can literally go on Walmart or Target right now and find stuff that's profitable and pick it up today and send it out.
it's
Or
a
even
lot less, a lot less competition too with Amazon stuff relative to volume. I from what I've seen on the outside, looking and having come from the shoe world.
yeah, definitely.
Cool. Tell us about the wholesale stuff you're doing now.
So wholesale, I'm still getting into. I did hire a VA for wholesale. We're pretty much working together, and kind of like what I was saying with my daily tasks. Right when I wake up, my first thing is to review what my VA does. And we're pretty much just opening accounts together for wholesale and trying to find profitable products through their distributor lists or supplier lists or brand lists. But it is a process. Wholesale, you just got to keep like in contact with everybody, the brands, the suppliers. You just got to constantly build a relationship. I think that's the like biggest part when it comes to wholesale. You build a relationship with either your sales rep or whoever you're in contact with. Yeah, email works, but calling is the best because you actually build that close knit relationship with that sales rep, and you constantly call them or you can constantly email them, and then you might be able to get some volume discounts if you start, kind of saying, hey, how much do I have to spend to get these products at this price or get this SKU at this price? And I'm still in the process of that. I've only been doing wholesale for about, I want to say, a month and a half. So we're just pretty much still in the beginning stages of kind of opening up some catalogs and looking through them.
And more than just like kind of what you say to them and developing that relationship, it's proving it too, right? It's week after week, month after month, placing those consistent orders that show you're legit and show you're not just someone that's looking for an easy dollar, right?
Yeah.
They're wanting to work with people who are kind of situated in a specific niche and industry, and you prove that over time.
Exactly.
And obviously, as you do, discounts get more steeper, opportunity becomes more available. You can start buying into more products in the catalog, and it starts to compound, just like anything with this business. But have you placed any POs yet?
I have not actually. I'm in the process of actually building a PO for the first distributor that actually it took me a while to get one that was profitable. I am finding a lot of profitable like leads, but Amazon's on a lot of the listings, so I don't want to like go too heavy on something with wholesale with Amazon on it. So I'm kind of trying to avoid that for my first big PO. But I'm taking my time with it. I don't think there's a rush. As long as I'm in contact, like you said, and building that relationship, I'll be able to find something. And it's like you said, after a few POs, you might be able to get that discount or even a greater discount. I'm not going to be no top tier account like some of these wholesale gurus out there, but maybe eventually I can get to that level. But we'll
Yeah, are
see.
you
I'm
gonna
just taking it. I'm taking it slow because OA, I'm like 99% OA and a little bit of RA right now, and I'm doing really well at that. So I don't want to push all of my mind onto wholesale right now because OA is
Mhm.
very successful. So,
are you gonna do the wholesale prep in-house?
um, maybe for the first few POs, but I do want to eventually get a small like storage space. Uh,
Oh, cool.
I do also want to get a house soon, so I'm like moving out soon. So if I get a house, I can use my garage as just
Well,
the
you
space
might need
itself.
the commercial address though for
Oh
that.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, storage state, like an actual storage space would be a lot better with
Yeah,
the gates and everything and all the like.
yeah. That
And
I
why? And you're against prep centers. You don't want to go that route, or what's your mindset with prep centers?
I just never got into one. I mean, I'm in Jersey, so I'm tax free on shoes. I'm tax free on apparel. I am tax exempt on certain things. Like you can sign up for Walmart tax exempt. So pretty much everything on Walmart, grocery, whatever you're buying on there will be tax exempt. As long as you send them all your papers, pretty much. But I just never got into one. And when I was kind of starting out, that thing in Montana happened. I think it was with that prep center, so it kind of scared me away. Um, but like I said, everything's tax free that I'm buying right now. All this, I'm doing a lot of shoes and apparel, so I kind of just have some people in the house helping me whenever it gets crazy.
To be honest, I didn't know New Jersey was tax-free shoes and apparel.
Ozell, dude, New Jersey's the best
Mhm.
state for this, man, because they get like wholesale. You got New
Oh yeah,
Jersey City,
All those suppliers,
and
yeah.
New York,
yeah.
obviously, and then yeah, like, and then you got tax, and I'd say like Pennsylvania's got to be up there too, just for similar reasons.
Because
Yeah.
we're tax-free shoes and apparel, right? Or no, just
And
apparel.
then Delaware is right there too. They're tax free everything.
Yeah,
Everything,
it's
yeah.
the
What's
same.
your sales tax across the board? Everything else in Jersey, isn't it high?
I think it's 6.6
Yeah, you guys
percent.
have high income
You
tax.
guys are
Right?
6%, I think.
I don't even know. I just
Yeah,
I
I don't
think
know.
you're I think you're a little lower than Jersey. I think
I
Jersey's
think a little
6.6.
lower. Yeah, because like backpacks and stuff, I always have to pay it for because they're like technically sporting goods or whatever on that. But yeah, ladies and gents, use a prep center. You get a prep center, especially if you're in a state where you're paying a lot of sales tax and such with that. Basically, for anyone that doesn't know, why you hear us talk about all this stuff is because say you live in like Florida, for example, like say you buy a sneaker, right, for $100, you're gonna actually pay 107, right? But let's say you use a prep center in New Hampshire or Delaware where there's 0% sales tax and you ship it to that state, you're gonna only pay $100 plus your prep cost of probably $2.50. So you're gonna save that
$5
whole
a piece.
difference, right? And that's that's an expensive item, but you guys get the idea, right? So that's a big arbitrage, and that's why Garrett mainly does that. I'll mainly be doing that a month from now once I'm out of my spot and everything. Speaking of that, you got to get down here too. I'm gonna have like a meetup, probably in like
I need to see the storage unit. Yeah, I need to see your new space.
yeah. Well, I'm only having it till the end of next month, but I'll obviously hit you up about that and
Yeah.
everything. Need to do some of that. What's been the biggest difference between wholesale and OA for you, and what has you most excited about it?
Um, that's a great question, actually. Let's see. Wholesale, biggest difference. Wholesale, like I said, it feels more of like a career, even though OA is a career. I'm not trying to be like rude when I say that, but OA seems like you really have to get your stuff together. Like you really need to be on top of it. I feel like I'm putting a lot more attention to wholesale when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things to kind of like keep that business going. And it's just like OA, I can just go online, buy something, ship it to my house. Or wholesale, it's like I need a place. I need like forklifts if I'm doing LTL shipments. There's just a big learning curve to it. Like OA is like a little bit easier to learn, And I kind of do stress this on people that DM me and they're like, oh, are you doing wholesale? Like, I want to get into it. And I'm like, yeah, it looks easy, but I'm not even like doing well on it right now. I'm still learning. I'm like a month or two in. And I try to preach, like, start with like RA, start with OA, because most people are just starting with $1,000 to $5,000. And I'm like, you're not going to make it in the wholesale world with that. So it's like, I like to be transparent with people. And I think that's super important because a lot of people kind of just try to reel people into the Amazon space and like just let them like do stuff and spend all this money. And then they kind of like can't do anything with it because they're buying bad product or stuff gets stuck in FBA. And it's, I think wholesale is a different ball game, pretty much, to answer your question. I think it's a lot more work, and I would start with OA first, if you're listening and you're like a beginner seller.
Completely agree. Yeah, because it's how you build confidence, low risk.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing it is, you can make a bunch of money. As a bunch of people only do OA. I'm not like, and make some good money and everything. What do you think is the biggest difference between just off, you being around like almost a year, whatever, the people who you've talked to on Instagram, Twitter, who you've seen that have succeeded versus those that haven't and quit? What do you think is the biggest difference?
The people that network more, I see more success out of. That's literally it. I mean, I can't explain it better than that. And the same goes for me. I mean, I network with you guys. I did coaching with you. I did. I just send constant DMs to people I see success from, and just like a small little DM, like finding out like if someone's moving Stanleys or something, like, and then you look into it and then all of a sudden you're making 2,000 in a month off Stanleys or something. Just from a simple DM. Like, I slept on that. I should have bought those, but it's like, if you just DM people and you're like, hey, like, what do you mainly buy? What categories are you focusing on? Do you have any tips for beginners? I was mass DMing people in my first 2 months, everybody. And I know, Tony. Tony's a very knowledgeable person too. And I DM'd him out the gate, and he was just pushing content to me and like helping me with all the basics on top of like your program. So like I said, just network, build a group chat or a mastermind or whatever people call it. Join the free Discords. I mean, watch all the free guides, watch all of Miles's free content, because there's so much content on YouTube and people are still paying for ungating knowledge, which is amazing to me that I keep hearing that. And I'm like, you can just go on YouTube.
Yeah, it shows how much we still have to conquer with the BB over
it's crazy. It's crazy. I guess people just want answers quick, but
which I get. No, I do get that. But you could Google that shit, bro, and just figure it. That's what's great. Like, I think I rank up there on like the YouTube search and everything. And it's just interesting, how all that stuff works and all that. But yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Like, I've never seen someone quit that knows a bunch of really successful sellers and is cool with them ever. And I've also really never seen someone not succeed that's been around with it for a while and everything. But someone listening's like, oh no, I never get a response from people, but they have a private account with no profile picture.
Oh, here we go. Every episode without fail.
Like, and they're still in my DMs, like talking about, oh, like I can't meet anyone, when they have put in like quite literally the bare minimum effort on stuff. And you don't even show your face, but people can tell. You don't, right? Yeah, people can tell like you're confident.
I think I'm gonna start pushing.
You are on this though. Yeah, you are.
I think I will eventually dox myself a bit, but we'll see.
This episode is doing that for you. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
The deep fake or the blur on right there. So what's the biggest bottleneck for you right now?
Time. I would say capital, but I'm kind of leveraging that smart a little better. Leveraging capital, like you kind of preach too. There are 0% APR cards, which if you're listening to this and you're a beginner, definitely do a lot of research on that, because that's how I leveraged it. Obviously, this is not like financial advice. Don't ask people about this, but that's how I started. I leveraged a Amex Blue card that gave me a 25K limit, 0% APR for 12 months. So people that kind of want to do Amazon FBA and they learn and they're watching a lot of YouTube and they could source profitable products. If you could buy 20K worth of something today, and capital is your issue, definitely look into a card that has 0 APR. So that was my first bottleneck. Time is my second bottleneck because I'm a perfectionist. I do not like, well, I didn't in the beginning like people prepping for me. Like I had my parents helping out because they just like saw the success like right out the gate from like month 3 or 4, and they're like trying to help me. And I didn't want help because I just wanted everything perfect. I didn't want issues with my orders. I was getting a lot of security tags on items, and I didn't want them missing stuff. And then it getting sent to FBA, and then I don't know, someone getting an order with a security tag on it and complaining, and then getting issues on my account. So time would be my biggest bottleneck because of that. Because I just, like I said, I want to do everything myself, but I'm realizing at this point now that I'm scaling a lot faster that it's not feasible, and delegation is kind of what you have to do to kind of scale up to the realm of like 1-2 million a year like you guys do.
And so
But
what's going to be your approach to solve that?
Do a lot more in-house prep with people. So I do have a neighbor that could do it. My parents do help me out with in-house prep, so I give them tasks and I'll pay them for that, if they actually accept it sometimes. But yeah, that would solve most of my problems. I think a storage plate, like a unit, would solve a lot of it too, and then I can actually hire someone moving down the road. I think that's my main goal for this year, is to get a warehouse, maybe just like a small warehouse, even if it's like 500 to 1,000 square feet, something 750, something like that.
Man, so you're gun ho on keeping prep in house.
Yeah.
I'm a perfectionist. I don't want anything like going wrong.
Prep
I
is
would
the
tr-
least.
I
So
would
fearful
trust
of my account
people-
getting shut down.
I would trust people that do 5,000 units a day way more than I would trust like a parent. As much as I love
Yeah. I'm trying to
And-
still teach my parents like how to do everything. Like,
Yeah, well, and if
Really?
it's not like a long-term commitment, you always have to teach new people. Like I go through this all the time and it's completely self-inflicted. And stuff. Just some of the easier stuff to prep and everything. You'll be surprised because it's just like a full commitment if you want to take prep in. It's going to be like a ton. I feel like.
I
But
agree.
that's what's nice.
It is a big bump.
It
is a big bump.
Yeah, way more though. And then like you would be able to rocket past someone who was purely using a prep center if you really, really want to go balls deep.
Yeah, if I went prep center route, I don't even like, my restock limits are really screwing me for that. That's why.
So self
Yeah.
issue then.
My standard storage was 1,100 for some reason. No
Oh,
idea why. But I reached
your
out.
account's still super new.
Yeah.
But my friend made an account and he's at 5,000 standard storage.
Not
Like,
bad. Yeah. Like it'll pick in like 3 weeks,
Well,
right?
I also, some good advice for people that are listening. If you just make a case and say, hey, my standard storage is 1,100. I want it to be bumped up to X units because of X, Y, and Z. They actually did it. They bumped me 1,200 units. So now I'm at like 2,300 units for standard storage. They just respond back and they want like an actual paragraph and some answers of why you want to increase it. I'm not sure what goes into their algorithm on, maybe it's sell-through and your account history and age. I think that's what plays a big role in your number.
I mean, and
if I had a higher number, I would go full prep center soon if I get like a really high number, because then I can just push all the like high ROI stuff there, and any like 20% ROI stuff that I kind of want to do, I could send to my house.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, prep is just the lowest ROI activity in the business possible, right?
Mhm.
It's essentially a $10, $15, $20 an hour activity.
Yeah,
But
and I kind of like it though, which is kind of crazy, but it's just kind of fun sometimes.
I don't know. I feel like it does show that you're really putting input in everything, but yeah, it makes no sense for it to be a focus, obviously, with that and everything. And then what does this look like ideally a year from now? Differently.
Well, hopefully not in school. Hopefully this actually does take off. Not that I hated nursing school. Once I started doing well on Amazon, I realized this was kind of the career for me, because I came from the whole reselling background. I've been doing it since like high school, since college, buying and selling shoes. So I think this is just what I was meant to do. I think all the content that happened to appear on my Twitter pages was the best thing that could have happened, honestly. And I've met a lot of great people that I've networked with, and I'm in like many group chats and text chats with like very, very big sellers, like people that are doing wholesale, people that are doing OA or RA to the point of like your levels, or if not more. And a year from now, hopefully I can be on your guys' level. That's like main goal, like a few M's like in gross revenue, something like that. And obviously making my business maybe a little bit more professional, whether it's like getting a warehouse unit or hiring more people, just kind of getting my everything together, you know.
Yep. So you're like really, really interested in scaling aggressively, then. I love it.
Yeah, but I don't want to rush it, because if you scale too aggressively, it could hurt you. I think it's okay to take things slow. I feel like in this space, everybody's like, oh, I want to scale. Like, how'd you go from like 5K a month to 130K in December? And I'm like, well, December is an outlier. So if you spend heavy, you will get sales if the units are moving and the data is there. It's not hard. You just need capital. And I think leveraging that is the best part. You just have to be very smart with it. And you need to have a good coach and someone who can kind of take you through the steps of doing that.
Yeah, and that's what's nice is like, you know, you can get all that on Twitter, listening to this kind of stuff. It's like a puzzle, you know, you're trying to put together different pieces of a puzzle. Okay, like I got to learn a source. That's the hardest part. I got to get capital. Okay, that is hard, but then you kind of figure it out, and depending kind of your risk tolerance, you know, you can get other things like that. You know,
Sure.
virtual assistants, you got to figure out prep and all that. But, you know, at the end of the day, like there's way worse ways to make money for sure, you know. Yeah.
And you don't even need to rush to like wholesale route. You could do OA and really push it beyond. I've seen people that are doing like 8 million in OA, which is insane to me, but it's possible. I mean, if you have the capital and you have like 5 VAs maybe pushing you leads all day, and you're spending the majority of your day buying and using a prep center, it's totally feasible. And then
it gets real messy at that scale though.
yeah, I wouldn't want to push it to that level, but
the OA side of things, at least. Is George
at least OA? Yeah, no, like wholesale, you could do big numbers and have it like an actual business plan and all of that, SOPs and all that stuff. But OA gets, I can agree, it definitely gets messy, because it's getting messy right now. And obviously I'm still learning. I'm only like 7.5 months in. So I still have a lot to learn. And I think that's something new sellers should know. It's like, I'm not perfect. I'm making mistakes. I'm losing money on some items. I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning, buying items that had no ASIN, stuff like that. So just learn from those mistakes, learn from all of the content. And don't try to get like spoon-fed info. Like actually go out and like watch the content in your car instead of listening to music. Listen to the podcasts, listen to Scott Needham, listen to all the other podcasts as well, because that has taught me so much. And I think that's what helps me scale a little bit quicker than most people.
Oh, completely. Yeah. You know, I mean, you know, people that others don't. People know you, you know, naturally good things happen. So you are going to Miami, you said, right?
Yes. So my schedule cleared up. I actually need to look into the details of that, and
Is
I'll
George
probably talk to you after this about that. But I will book my flight probably tomorrow. I think it's the 18th, 19th. What's up?
Is George going as well?
He's going with me to ASD, but actually,
cool.
I'll probably, yeah, me and him are flying to ASD together, because he's like down the road from me, like 30 minutes away. So, but I haven't talked to him about Miami and the seller meetup, because I just found out my schedule cleared up. So I'm going to shoot him a text actually today, and hopefully we can book another flight together and figure something out.
Sounds good, man.
And I have a friend in Miami, so it's like I have a free place to stay. So
Oh yeah. It's a no.
Oh, W.
I only got to pay for food, which is great.
Where can people find you on socials?
So I have so many different names. I feel like on socials, my YouTube's Tona back in my botting days. I will potentially make more content in the future for FBA stuff. But as for Twitter, it's still Tona. I'll probably keep it at Tona. But if you want to get in contact with me, the quickest, probably Instagram. It's TonaFBA, and yeah, shoot me a DM through there. I'm always answering people's questions. As long as you don't just say hi, just shoot your question right away, because that'll bother me the most. I ignore those.
The worst is the hey, can I ask a question? And then I said,
That
yeah. Like there was this one guy the other day.
I don't even answer those.
Yeah, he's like, hey, can I ask a question? I was like, sure. And then he was like something like just 2 or 3 questions. I don't know. I just like get to your point, obviously.
And I don't, pretty much just ask me anything right out the gate and I'll answer it.
Sweet. All right, sounds good, man. Everyone go check out Tona, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you guys.
Yeah.